So, TikTok lost my trust for a long time, and I know y'all haven't heard from me in a while. Frankly, I've been mostly at a loss for words, but my personality type is that, when I get really stressed, that's when I get quiet. And I've been super introspective lately. And during all of this introspection, I think I finally realized that this is a way longer con than any of us thought it was. This started a good while ago with Fox News. So we had Fox News, of course, Newsmax. And then, later on, a lot of them fell to the same rhetoric. But it really kind of began with like WSB and Fox News. They got a hold of the boomer generation mostly and started teaching them all of this rhetoric, teaching them a lot of like some of the stuff that made them all sound insane. Some of the crazy crap that they say around the dinner table at Thanksgiving that makes everybody go, what? What's grandma smoking? They taught them to say things like accusing Obama of a coup, about overthrowing the government, about election interference, fascism, communist takeovers, China, all of this stuff. They taught the boomer generation all of this crazy rhetoric that made us all look at them like they were lunatics. They threw around, fraud and corruption and overreach and groomer and like all of this crazy language. And it made us all look at them like, you have no proof of any of this stuff. Like, what are you even talking about? None of this stuff is real, Grandma. Okay, well, turn off the Fox News, Grandma. Like, it became the language of lunacy. And then came, the big lie that the election was stolen. That, Trump comes out and he says, oh, the election was stolen. There's no way Biden won, all of this fraud, et cetera, whatever. And so everybody who was saying the election was stolen, because there was absolutely no proof, there were legal challenge after legal challenge after legal challenge, and there was no proof of election fraud. So we all started to look at people who were election deniers like they were lunatics. It became kind of like part of the, crazy grandma nomenclature, right? So after all of this happens, there actually is election interference. We actually do have a president who's colluding with Russia. Very clearly. We do have a president who is committing fraud. We do have a criminal in the White House. And, previously they've said, oh, we have a criminal in the White House. They're talking about Biden, the Biden crime family, right? And we've been looking at all of them going, are you crazy? There's no proof of this. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, we got a criminal in the White House, right? And now we actually do have a criminal in the White House. And so when we say it, we second guess ourselves because we starting to sound like crazy grandma. When we talk about coups and fascist takeovers and the unconstitutionality of, or executive overreach, when we start talking about that stuff, when it's actually valid and there's proof of it, we stop ourselves because we remember crazy grandma saying that stuff a while ago. And we were like, come on, crazy grandma. Like, sure, yeah. Because before it wasn't provable and it wasn't true, but they seeded the boomer generation with it. So we would spend 10 or so years before they actually executed these things, denying that these things could be executed. We just spent, I don't know how many years talking about how we don't have criminals in the White House and we would never have criminals in the White House. Or, of course, there's no election fraud. We have free and fair elections. Of course there's, of course there's not executive overreach. Like, this is perfectly within the purview. Of course the SCOTUS isn't completely corrupt, whatever. And now we're saying the SCOTUS is corrupt and there's executive overreach and there's all of this because it's actually happening, but we're echoing crazy grandma and it's making us look crazy. It's undermining what we're saying. This is a freaking op that has been underway in America for decades. And now we have the king of the gaslighters in the White House. He just vehemently denies reality for so long that people start to question whether that reality exists. He alters people's perceptions of reality by repeating falsehoods over and over again, even at the State of the Union address. And the rest of us who are going, wait a minute, like, this is actually provable. This is actually happening. The other side is coming back at us going, oh, I thought we had free and fair elections. And I thought the executive was allowed to do all these things. And so now they're making us sound like we're crazy. And of course, he's talking about waste and all. He's using waste and corruption as a vehicle to fire as many people as possible and then replace them with loyalists. And then to gut all of the social programs that keep a lot of America afloat. Meanwhile, he's having people pay over $1 million to have dinner with him at Mar-a-Lago. He is blatantly violating the emoluments clause. Blatant violation of emoluments. And then you have Elon Musk, who's, raking in the dough right now with all of his government contracts. And they're lining their pockets, and we're all looking at him going, wait a minute, they didn't tell us they were going to do that. Well, yeah, they sure did. Their entire freaking campaign. They talked about mass deportations. They talked about Doge. They talked about all of they told y'all what they were going to do, and now they're doing it, and you're acting surprised. And then when we call it out, you look at us and go, oh, well, we said that about Biden, and you said it wasn't true. Well, because it wasn't true about Biden, you idiots. So, yeah, this has been going on for a long time. This op has been in place for, it's got to be at least a decade. Oh, no, we've had 8 years dealing with Trump, so it's got to be even longer than that. Even longer than that. Since I have been voting, probably. What an absolute mess. What an absolute mess. Stay safe out there, friends. And we can't help but fight that good fight, can we?